Remember, this equation's written in standard form, right? ax squared plus bx plus c. A tells us if it's going to open up or down, correct? What is the value of a here? A is equal to a positive 4. So how will this open? It's going to open up, okay? Does that mean it's going to have a minimum value or a maximum value? Down. We know just from the equation that the parabola is going to have a minimum value because it opens up. Good. If you're asked to find the zeros of the relation, what's another word for zeros? We talked about this. What are they asking you? Good. We're trying to find the x-intercepts. To find the x-intercepts, what form should it be written in? Factored form. Okay? So we're going to put this equation, we're going to factor it. If it's written in factored form, you can easily read the x-intercept. Okay, so as a review, again, we're putting this into factored form. What's the first thing you always look for? See if you can find if it has what? GCF, greatest common factor. Common factor is 4 in this case, which means all of these terms, each term, can be divided by 4, right? So we're going to rewrite this. If it can be divided by 4, it means it can be multiplied by 4. So I'm going to rewrite this as 4 times what? What happens here? 4 divided by 4, that cancels out. We're left with x squared. What is negative 72x divided by 4? Negative 18x. And then 260 divided by 4 is going to be positive 65. Thank you. Am I fully done? Have I fully factored this? No, which part of this can still be factored? My trinomial. So now we're going to look for two things that multiply together to give us which term? Positive 65 adds up to negative 18. Good. 13 times 5 is 65. But what's 13 plus 5? Positive 18. Does that work? No. 2 negatives also make a positive, right? Negative 13 times negative 5. Does everyone agree that that will still give us positive 65? When I add those two terms together, we get negative 18. Good. So let's write this in factored form. We still have the 4. That's our a value. X, our first factor is minus 13. And then x minus 5. Okay, so this is factored form. But the question was asking for the x-intercepts, or the zeros. What are the two x-intercepts? Opposite integer, right?
Positive 13.
Good. Because x minus 13 is equal to 0, right? When y is 0, I know that the parabola will hit the x-axis. So x equals positive 13. That's one x-intercept. And then my other factor is x minus 5. So x equals 5. So the two x-intercepts, remember the sign changes. They're the opposite sign. Okay. As you recall from grade 10, every parabola is symmetrical, which means that if I draw an imaginary line that goes straight line, sorry, this is crooked, but straight line that goes right through the center of the parabola, that imaginary line is referred to as the axis of symmetry. Okay, it cuts the parabola in exactly two parts. You're right. It does pass through the vertex, okay, because the vertex is the point where it changes direction. So the axis of symmetry goes through the vertex. Well, if this is my graph, look here for a sec. Pretend I were to put this on a graph. I can look at this x-intercept and this x-intercept, right? What do you notice about where the axis of symmetry is located? It's located directly in the middle of my two x-intercepts. It's got to be halfway between those 2 points, right? So in the example we just did, what were the two x-intercepts? 5 and 13. Well, if I want to know where the axis of symmetry is, I need to find the halfway point between those 2 points. We're going to add our two x-intercepts, so 5 plus 13. I'm going to add them together, get the sum, and then to find the middle point, divide by 2. We're cutting it in half, okay? Think of your average. What is 5 plus 13? What is 18 divided by 2? Okay, so the axis of symmetry is located at x, right? It's on the x-axis. X is 9. That's the halfway point between these two x-intercepts. Okay, so as we just discussed, the axis of symmetry goes right through the vertex. So right now you know that the vertex is located at 9, right? It's at 9 and something. Do you know how low it goes? Do we know what the y value of the vertex is? No. We know the x value of the vertex, right? The axis of symmetry is your x value of the vertex. Well, if you look back at the original question, the question gave us an equation of the parabola. We know that this equation represents the graph that I was just sketching. Well, if x equals 9, right, the vertex is located at 9 and something. If I know that x is 9, what can we do with that information? Plug it in, substitute it in, and solve for y. So if when x is 9, plug this in, figure out y. That y value will be part of the vertex because we're using a part of a coordinate from the vertex, okay?
So this is going to be on the coordinate.
Okay, don't forget, we have to follow BEDMAS. We have an exponent. You have to solve your exponent first. 9 times 9? Good. So it's going to be y equals 4 times 81. Take away 72 times 9 plus 260. Okay, so 4 times 81, 324 minus 648 plus 260. Your answer should be negative 64. Okay, that told us the y value of the vertex. So now we know that the vertex is going to be located at 9 and negative 64. Now they're asking you to write this equation in vertex form. Does anyone remember vertex form? Y equals ax minus h squared plus k. Well, we know a because it's the same written in any form. What was our a value? Remember when you had it in standard form? Good. A was 4. What's h? Good. H is 9, and what's k? Negative 64. So what is this in vertex form? Y equals 4 bracket minus 9. Remember, it's a plus 9, and then in vertex form it's the opposite. Squared minus 64. This is in vertex form now.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.